Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from the most recent patch. I know there's been about a billion different patches for TFT, but this is gameplay footage from the first day of the most recent patch. And the big story in this patch is that mages are back to being very strong once again, somewhat like the release version of the game where mages were pretty dominant when set 7 first came out. But, you know, the balance cycle has gone all the way around in a full circle, and now we're back to mages being very, very strong again. We'll see how long this lasts. I would not be surprised if we get some nerfs incoming pretty quickly to mages, but this footage was taken from the first day of this patch, and I'd say maybe about 12 hours after the patch first dropped on the live servers, so people were getting used to seeing what was in that new patch. But all the popular comps on the last patch got nerfed to one extent or another. The previous patch was very heavy on dragon units. By the way, you see me get an ideal opening to play mages here. I get Nami plus Vlad plus Skarner, so I can get the Astral Shops immediately. Plus, I was able to get a tier off the opening carousel, so I am very well set up to play mages already. Anyway, though, to get back to my point, the last patch was very heavy on dragon units. The units that were defining the metagame were Siphon, which is the Bruiser Whispers Dragon, and Shioyu, which is the Jade Dragon. By the way, more mage astral units popping up here. Exactly what I want to see in my store. So they were the units that were defining the previous patch, and it was really these melee dragons that everyone was playing around. People could still, you could still play Corki, could still play Zaya. There's always the option if somebody manages to reach level 9 and gets like a 2-star Alshin, that was always a win condition as well. But by and large, it was mostly Siphon and Shioyu that were shaping the gameplay, and those were the units everyone was playing around. They have both eaten quite a few nerfs. Oh, and then I get an Alawi out of this orb too, which is just ridiculous. I'm, again, getting all of the pieces that I need to play this team composition. And they were all nerfed. All those units that were popular in the last patch ended up getting nerfed. So now we have a new metagame. There were a bunch of buffs to mage units, which I'll talk more about in a minute. As you see me re-roll my augment choice, I didn't like any of the opening choices. I actually don't like any of these that much either, but they're still good old Celestial, so I'll just go ahead and take that. Celestial, not as good in a mage team composition. It's not terrible by any means. I've always felt like it works a little bit better with an AD team composition. But as I said, it's not bad, so I'm certainly not going to object to it. And it was, I think, by far the best option out of the various things that I had available. It does mean I've used up my reroll on the augments, so have to take what I get for the remaining 2 rounds. But if you're going to reroll, the first one is not a bad one to use it on, because let's face it, you're going to play most of the game with that first augment. You're only going to play maybe like 1/3 of the game with that last augment. All right, so to get back into what I'm doing in this game right now, I was able to take a tier off the initial carousel. I was going for the tier, knowing how strong mages are in this particular version of Teamfight Tactics. And I've been able to make a 2-star Vlad. I've been able to get Nami in. And then I just needed a 3rd mage to get the mage trait in play. So I picked up Lilia. I would kind of rather be playing Heimerdinger, honestly. One of the things that you want to do in this patch if you're playing mages is to get Heimer in early, preferably with Lulu if you can, because you really want to stack up Namzi. Namzi is a very valuable unit to have. Namzi, they nerfed some of the base stats on Namzi, but added a burn over time effect to Namzi's Fireball, so that unit is very useful. Anyway, you might see in the chat someone saying Vlad bug abuser, and that's actually true, although I'm not deliberately abusing Vlad. It's just he's a unit that's integral to the team comp that I'm trying to play here. So there was actually a question in chat. One of the people in chat had not heard about this, but Vlad, it was actually bugged. Hopefully this will get fixed in some kind of a hot fix or some kind of quick emergency patch, because basically Vlad is generating too much mana on autos. You can see my past self is typing this in the chat. Basically, like watch him when he autos, I believe he's getting 20 mana on auto attacks right now. I believe you're supposed to get like 4 or 5 mana. I'm trying to remember what the default amount is on auto attacks. I think it's 5 is the default amount, but don't quote me on that. So he's getting way more mana than he is supposed to. Now, Vlad is not a very good unit. He's actually really, even with mages being better in this version of Teamfight Tactics, he's still not a good unit, and he's not someone you should be looking to itemize. But, this obviously is a mistake. It's like he has double Spear of Shojins on him at all times. and that is not something that's supposed to be happening. So that does not mean that you should be now looking to play carry Vlad, but it does mean that he's also one of the other reasons why mages are overperforming. And in the limited data we have here in the early stages of this patch, the mages are doing extremely well. And that's both from like a data perspective and also just like from observation. If you just watch the games, I was watching some of the streamers earlier today before recording this. Mages are very dominant, like to an unhealthy degree dominant. And you're going to see that this ends up being a pretty easy game as well. Now, that's not to say it's totally brain dead as a competition. I actually think mages do have some... There's some things that are pretty straightforward. Like, you can always just put in Astral and then try to reroll Vlad and Nami. But that's not really the ideal way to play mages. What you generally want to do is use them as a transition comp and then look to play one of the magic damage dragons at the end of the game. Formerly, that pretty much had to be Al Shin because Aurelion Sol was kind of like this broken unit that didn't really do anything. But in this most recent patch, by the way, this right is relatively close. I don't know why there's a Vlad, why there's a Mirage emblem on this Vlad, but we're going to be able to punch through in overtime and ultimately end up winning this one. So as I was saying previously, the Aurelion's, you kind of had to go into Al Shin because Aurelion Sol was not really playable, but that has changed now. The Aurelion Sol was reworked in this patch. They've tried to turn him into a support dragon. His new ability does not keep dealing more damage over time as it did before, but instead now it puts a damage debuff on the enemy team, whoever gets hit by his ability, and it causes them to take increased damage for the next 10 seconds. By the way, out of these different options, I very badly wanted the Silas. Silas, another mage with a, what is that, a vest, and that's going to allow me to, what is it, I can just sell this Lilia and then make a Sunfire Cape, and because the Silas is also a mage, that means I still preserve mages and I get Bruiser Trade in, and then I was like, well, I guess I'll put this Alawi in as well. I actually would much prefer to be running like a Heimerdinger or a Rise in particular. I would really like to have for a more damage option, because I'm actually pretty tanky right now. I just don't have a lot of damage. I'm just kind of relying on mage natural damage to carry me, but that's not an option. I have not found any other mages. 0 Heimers so far, so I'm going to be playing the Alawi instead. But to get back to my point, which I keep interrupting myself on, the Aurelion Sol, they have now changed the unit, so his ability, like I said, instead of getting larger over time, now it puts a debuff on the enemy team, and I believe all enemy units take 20% more damage. Plus, it just his black hole just deals a decent amount of damage. Also, after 20 seconds, the area of the black hole gets larger. So what this means is Aurelion Sol is now kind of playable as a carry at the end of the game. He doesn't carry quite as well as Al Shin, because, again, he's more of a supportive unit than like a raw damage unit, but he does enough damage now that if you can 2-star him, he can just be played as your endgame carry as well. And by the way, here's a nice Astral shop. Every single unit is an Astral unit, so I'm going to 2-star the Nami, and I'm going to get up to 6 Vlad, so I'm in really good shape to 3-star the Vlad. I don't know if Vlad's going to be part of my endgame composition, but, you know, if I could 3-star him here in the early game, I'd be very happy to just run 3-star Vlad for a while, because he's providing some damage and a little bit of extra tankiness. Anyway, so that, of course, is another reason why mages are performing well. A bunch of the units got buffed, so Nami got a buff. Nami, they lowered her mana cost. They should not have done that, because Nami was in a decent spot before, but they lowered her mana cost, and that was a mistake. I think it went from 90 to 70, something like that, so she's going to cast a lot more often. They actually triple buffed Lilia. Of course, I'm not playing Lilia at the moment, but still, 3 buffs to Lilia. They also buffed Zoe as well. They cut the mana cost on Zoe. I think she went from like 110 mana to 90 mana, something like that. Like, that's a big buff, and I'm not sure that Zoe really needed that. And then, of course, also by making Aurelion Sol playable as like an endgame carry dragon. And not really. He's intended to be a support dragon, but as I mentioned, you can kind of itemize him and have him be playable. By making Aurelion Sol kind of viable as a unit again, that also benefited mages, because it gives them another option. You can play into Al Shin or Aurelion Sol. So, by the way, you've seen all these messages popping up. Old Thrusty has reconnected. Old Thrusty has disconnected. I tried to mute this person to stop those messages from popping up, but I just couldn't. It didn't do anything. Apparently, there's no way to stop these messages. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to see that pop up in the top left-hand corner of the screen. By the way, that person is on a big winning streak. They have not lost a single round yet. They actually went to level 6 on 2-6. Like, they leveled to 6 on the last stage right before the minion round. So I was hoping I would not hit that person, and fortunately I didn't. I've also gotten a little bit of luck here from the minion round. I've been able to get a sword to match with this tier, so that means I'm going to be able to make Spear of Shojin on someone. By the way, up to 7 Vlads already. So I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to level to 6 here? I was like, yes, I do want to level to 6. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on the Lilia. Now, this is not really an ideal item on Lilia. Actually, it's not bad. If you are going to run her as a carry unit, it's actually not that bad to put on her. But I'm mostly just running her as a transition unit. My goal is to play Rise as my mid-game carry, but I haven't found a Rise yet, and I don't want to sit here and roll because I'm on 100 HP. I think I'm fine on health. So instead, I'm going to just run through Lilia for the time being instead. I would also be very happy to drop Skarner at this point. Note that I have 4 Astral, 3 Bruiser, which is a little wonky. I would be happy to drop Skarner and play like a Heimerdinger here, because that would get me up to 5 mages. So like that would also be a possibility as well. But for the time being, I don't think I can find something better than that Skarner to frontline for me. So we will run through Lilia for the time being and just go from there and see what happens. She was the top damage dealer in that fight. Kind of an awkward unit as like this melee mage who has to be right up front next to the other units to cast. But as I mentioned, she got triple buffs in this patch. They buffed her base health, they buffed the damage on her ability, and they buffed something else. I think they buffed her attack speed. All right, we have second augment. It's prismatic, and fortunately, I'm going to hit super duper hard on this prismatic augment. This is the biggest high roll moment of the game because I did not have my reroll available. I was not able to reroll the prismatic augment, and it gave me something that was perfect for my comp. I've been able to get prismatic meditation. Mage comps really want meditation. It's just fantastic for them because you're never going to itemize every unit. You're always going to have some units that you're leaving unitemized. And for mages, it just means that they're going to cast much more often. And mages, all of their damage comes from double casting. It's not like an AD-based comp where their auto attacks are doing a lot of damage. No, the auto attacks don't really do anything for a mage comp. They need to cast, and they want to cast as frequently as possible. So that's why Ludens is really good on them. Meditation, really good on them. Those have always been the 2 augments that make mage comps pop off. And as I mentioned, this was my high roll moment of the match. Well, I also just random my way into a 2-star Lilia. And now at this point, I was like, oh, well, I don't even really need Rise right now. Since I have 2-star Lilia, I think she can carry me through stage 3. Now, she'll fall off in stage 4, but for the time being, this is a perfectly viable unit to use as my carry. I can just stack any items I'm planning to put on like an Aurelian Soul or an Ao Shin later. I can just put them on her, and she can be the item holder for right now. If I hit 2-star Rise, I could consider transferring the items over, but I think I'm okay with just having her be my item carrier, and we'll just go from there. All right, now note that I still have not seen Old Thrusty yet. I still have not seen this person, and I was like, wait, they're level 7 already? I was like, oh, okay. Note that they have taken Band of Thieves for their second augment. They also have Sunfire Board for the first one. Good generic augments, both of them. So this means that this person is going to spike really hard right now. But for some reason, they've rolled themselves down to 0 gold. Like, look at that. They're at 0 gold. Oh, also someone else took loaded dice and hit 3-star Swain. So yeah, that person's going to be strong too. So now I'm finally going to hit this person Old Thrusty. I was looking at it, I was like, I could level to 7 and put in Rise. That might help me win against this person, but I was like, what is the rush here? It's perfectly fine to lose this round. I don't want to spend, 30 gold to level? I don't want to go down to 12 gold. That doesn't feel worth it here. Let's just stay here. Does not look like I'm going to win this round, but again, that's fine. This person is not managing their economy. Again, they've rolled all the way down to 0 gold. They're on full win streak. They don't have to do this. I mean, it's one thing to level aggressively to try and preserve a win streak. That's perfectly fine. But I don't think it's worthwhile to go that low on gold. And the other thing is, if you look at what they've done with their itemization, they've just been slapping these Thieves' Gloves on their units, which, again, in the short run is going to make them very strong because, I mean, I think they have, like, if you count the Thieves' Gloves, I think they have, like, 6 completed items, 6 or 7 completed items, and I have, like, 3. So, like, yes, in the short run, this is going to make them super strong, but they have set their economy on fire, and in addition to that, they are not, like, kind of itemizing a carry. If you're thinking about that, like they have not like set out their items, itemized a dedicated tank, itemized a dedicated carry. No, they're just kind of like throwing Thieves' Glove stuff all willy-nilly all over the place. So I am feeling fairly confident that I can outscale that person. I'm just hoping someone else can beat them and interrupt that win streak because the only thing keeping that person's economy afloat right now is the fact that they're full win streak and they're getting all the extra gold from that. All right, so I am going to go ahead and level to level 5 here. or excuse me, it's a level 7 here, largely just so I can get Rise in and play 5 mages. And this is going to drop me down to 28 gold, but I think that's okay. Like, there's a big difference between dropping down to 28 gold and dropping to 12 gold. Like, one puts you in a lot more dicey economic situation than the other. So, yes, it's true. I had my win streak interrupted, but I'm still in really good shape. 87 HP, level 7 with 28 gold in the bank. And now, by the way, I could sell one of these Vlads. I'm easily going to win this against the person who's made Senna 3-star, but then not itemize their Senna. So no clue what they're doing. That person's a dead man walking. Only level 5 with 3-star Senna, but no items on Senna. Maybe they're... this is a normal game. Maybe they're just learning kind of the ins and outs of teamfight tactics because they seem to have no direction in their comp whatsoever. I could sell one of the Vlads, but I'm on 8 Vlads. It's like, come on, I'm going to hit this Vlad 3-star, right? I just need one more. And I've got Astral Shop. So the Astral Shop's almost guarantee that I'm going to hit the 3-star Vlad. Like, it's not 100% guaranteed, but the odds are very, very high that I'm going to hit the 3-star Vlad out of this. Now, and so by the way, there's 3 of us playing mages in this game. That person, Old Thrusty's playing mages. This person, Bill Nye to Kill Guy, is also playing mages. So there's 3 of us running a mage setup here in the lobby. So one of the other things that's key to a mage team, and this is really important. So if you're trying to learn something from this video, take this away. The strength of a mage board is highly concentrated in its front line. Like, obviously, yes, you know, you want to get Spear of Shojin, Archangels, Deathcap, Jeweled Gauntlet, blah, blah, blah. All those things are good. But the thing that really makes a mage team work is its front line, and in particular, itemizing Silas. Sometimes it can also be Alawi, in particular, if you play into Aurelian Soul and get and end up playing into Astral, it's relatively easy to 3-star the Alawi. But generally speaking, Silas is going to be your main tank in a mage's board. That's also why you want to get Namzi stacked up early. I again have seen 0 Heimerdingers in the shop the entire game, so clearly I'm not going to be playing Namzi in this game, but in a normal mage's game, you're going to be looking to try to get Namzi stacked up for the same reason. And like I said, the big thing is you just want your front line to buy time, because the mages will kill things eventually. If you're running Rise scales up over the course of the fight. If you're running one of the AP Dragons, Aurelian Soul or Alshin, they're going to just scale up and kill things over the fight too. So you really are just looking to stall for time. And so that's why it's actually really important to get strong items on your front line. I have the Sunfire Cape on Silas. I've also 2-starred the Silas, which is big. And then look what I'm going to get here. I'm going to get this, what is it, belt. And that's going to allow me to make Warmogs. And then I have half of a Dragon's Claw as well. So I'm looking to be in very good shape to make Sunfire Cape plus Warmogs plus Dragon's Claw. And that will make that unit extremely tanky, which is what I'm looking for. So very important to itemize your front line well. You cannot leave your front line unitemized because it'll just get punched through and then the mages will not be able to ramp up over time. By the way, I do have the items for a Thief's Glove here, but I held off on committing because I wanted to see what I could get in terms of other items. I was thinking, you know, maybe if I can get like a rod and a sword, I could look to do like Shojin's plus Jeweled Gauntlet plus Infinity Edge. And I was like, that sounds like it would be really good if I was going to run that on like an Alshin or something. Like one cast would just wipe the board if I'm critting for 1 billion damage on every spell cast. So I figured I'd hold off on that, see what items I could get, and go from there. The other reason why I'm less inclined to make a Thief's Glove here is because I have Prismatic Meditation Augment. Like, my mages get bonus mana by not having items on them. So that was another reason why I was less inclined there. Now, there's multiple good options here. I also could have gone ahead and taken the first aid kit, which would increase healing and shielding. Mage comps have a lot of healing in them and a lot of shielding, so that would not be bad, but I do think that Second Wind is better here. Again, the point I made before, you want to stall so that your backline can ramp up, so that Rise, if you're playing through Rise, can get off extra casts and scale up, or if you're playing through the AP Dragons, so that Aurelian Soul can get off more casts, or specifically in the case of Alshin, so he can just get his cast off in the first place. So that's the whole reason why I think the Second Wind is better. It'll just heal up my front line. Hopefully they can survive the 10 seconds. I think that they should be able to. You know, Silas, if he drops down to like 1/3 health, boom, Second Wind kicks in, suddenly he's back at full health again. So that's the whole goal there. So I'm looking at these other players. Here's the person who hit the Swain 3-star. So, you know, you might be like, oh man, Swain 3-star. Well, obviously they're just going to power right through my board, right? And I was like, I actually thought I had a decent chance to win this round, in part because I've got the Sunfire on their board, so I'm interrupting that healing that they're getting from Silas. And they just don't have this unit itemized well yet. The Swain does not have anything beyond a Giant Slayer, which is actually not very good against my team. I don't really have anyone on my team except, I guess, Silas, the Giant Slayer, benefits from, because he's got the Warmogs. But my team, not really getting bonus damage from Giant Slayer against my team. So, oh well. We actually punch right through and don't really have too much trouble winning against that board. So yeah, Swain 3-star, apparently not that great. But they were also kind of down to Prismatic Augment because they took the loaded dice, they got Swain 3, and that's it. They do not get a continued benefit from Prismatic Augment after that. So Prismatic Meditation is doing a tremendous amount of work in my team comp. It's kind of hard to see that, but you just have to take my word for it. It's like let me use this analogy. It's a little bit like offensive line play in American football. Like it's hard to kind of get stats on that, but you know when you have the benefit working correctly. Hard to measure directly, but like you know it when you see it. Okay, so I'm up against Old Thrusty, but remember how I said this person did not really have like carries itemized? They just had like random Thief's Gloves slapped on people? Yeah, you're starting to see their comp fall off. Again, they're level 8, 0 gold. They have been wildly reckless at spending their money. And like, who is the carry on this board? Is it the Heimerdinger who's rolled a Deathblade and a Quicksilver Sash? Is it the Nami who has a Bloodthirster and a Jeweled Gauntlet? Like, there's no carry in this comp. So you see the result. Silas never dies. They don't have enough damage. They can't get through the front line. And Rise, even though he has no items, he is benefiting from meditation. Rise just scales up and kills everything in the fight. So yeah, working pretty well. All right, so here I wanted to take the cloak. That's my top item. It's on a Zoe, but because it's on a Zoe, of course it gets taken. I really would have liked that on Silas. So because that's not an option, I'm going to have to take something else here. I also would have liked a rod to make Jeweled Gauntlet, but that's not an option either. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take the sword. That way, if I can get a rod from Treasure Dragon, I can run that Infinity Edge plus Jeweled Gauntlet if I want to. And if not, well, maybe we can make like a Shojin or something with it. We'll find something to do. All right, so I'm going to go level 8. I want to roll at least a little bit here. I'm just looking to find Aurelion Sol or Ao Shin, one or the other. I'm hoping I can find one of them. Remember, I do still have the Astral Shop, so I'm also hoping maybe I can 3-star the Vlad. I'm one off, but once again, I miss on the Vlad. I'm like, man, where are the other Vlads? And then, oh, there we go. That's our big hit. So I was like, all right, looks like we're going to play the Ao Shin this game. Could have been Aurelion Sol, could have been either one, but I found Ao Shin first, so I'm going to be happy to play that. Now I just have to think about how I want to run this. I was like, all right, you know, I was picking up Rises because maybe the play would be Rise 3-star. You never know, that has happened in some of my games. I have had that happen once or twice, but since I'm only on 4 Rises, hitting Rise 3-star seems very unlikely at this point. So what we'll want to do is just go into the Ao Shin. So I'm just pausing here. I'm like thinking about, all right, what units are going to come out? Obviously, the Lily is going to have to come out because I need to get that Spear of Shojin over to the Ao Shin. And we're actually beating this assassin board pretty easily. I also sell the Alawi because now I'm not going to go for Alawi 3-star because I'm not going to be playing into Astral 6. Which is what would happen if I were playing Aurelion Sol. So instead, nope, it's going to be the Ao Shin. Let's go ahead and put the Spear of Shojin on, and then we'll hold the other items and wait and see what we get on the Treasure Dragon. By the way, here is one of the other people playing mages. I mentioned that Old Thrusty was playing mages. Well, Bill Nye to Kill Guy is also playing mages. So top 3 people in the lobby all playing mages. All people not playing mages, bottom 5 spots. Yep, it do be like that right now. It do be like that right now. And in fact, this person even identifies the same thing. Don't worry, the top 3 players right now are all mages. Yep. The game not very well balanced right now. But at least we get to see the Lightning Storm from the Ao Shin, who is going to blast through and, you know, kill the whole enemy board. By the way, I also do now need to get Ornn into my team composition. I've only seen one Ornn in the shop earlier. Didn't pick it up earlier because I wasn't sure if I was going to play into Aurelion Sol or Ao Shin. But of course, now I will want to transition out of the Alawi eventually and replace Alawi with Ornn so I can get 4 Tempest in. And then I'll have that Bruiser front line. Okay, so here, this is a difficult Treasure Dragon. I'm really looking for very specific things. I want a rod so that I can make the... I would really like a rod so that I can make the Jeweled Gauntlet plus the Infinity Edge combo. I'm not seeing rods, though, which is a little annoying. I was like, oh, man, it's like, if I had just been able to get a rod, I could take the Archangel Staff and do Archangels plus Jeweled Gauntlet. But no, I was like, do I want this? No. And it's like, I also would really like a cloak, but I still have not seen even one rod yet. I'm like, come on, can I get a rod? How many times am I going to have to re-roll this thing? Please just give me a rod. It's like, all right, oh, this is fantastic. So I had to roll a lot. That's way more than I like rolling. But I am, in fact, going to be able to get some really good items here. So I'm going to go ahead and make the Jeweled Gauntlets. I was thinking, like, do I want Infinity Edge? But it's like, now I don't want to make Infinity Edge because I can make Jeweled Gauntlet plus Archangel Staff, and that's going to be really good. So unfortunately, we can't make Dragon's Claw on Silas. That's not, that would be the ideal item, but I was not able to get that last cloak. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the Quicksilver Sash on him, because Quicksilver Sash is good on frontliners too. It might not seem that way, but it actually is a pretty good frontline item. It gives them some dodge chance, and it also means that they can't get CC'd. Now, this is a bad fight to say that because we had the Silas get Zephyr'd out of the fight, but it is a pretty good item on frontliners. It means that they're not subject to a lot of the various crowd control that can sometimes take frontliners out of the fight. And meanwhile, don't look now, our items are pretty sweet on the Ao Shin. I mean, Shojin to cast faster, Archangels, and then plus Jeweled Gauntlet. Yep, that'll do. I should also mention that there was a change to the Jeweled Gauntlet in this patch. They reworked the Jeweled Gauntlet so that it gives more AP, but it has less crit chance on it. So what this basically means is it's a better all-purpose item. It's a worse item when paired together with the Infinity Edge. So like before, you wouldn't really want to make Jeweled Gauntlet unless you could also make Infinity Edge. Now it's a much more general use item, so it's better for, you know, just random situations. It used to only have 10 AP. I believe it now has 40 AP on it. Okay, so I'm up against one of the other mage players. This person is actually running 7 mages, and they're playing through Rise. Like, their board is certainly not bad here. I mean, 7 mages is good, but I mean, I have an AP dragon, and they do not have an AP dragon, so who's going to carry harder in this fight? Well, yep, that is the difference between having Rise and Nami as your carries, which is what that person was doing. They were playing through Rise and Nami, and that's why I do not recommend re-rolling on level 7. See, that person even types in the chat that Ao Shin's so big. Yep. I didn't want to say anything because I thought it might feel like I was taunting this person, so I just stayed silent there. But that's why I believe the play is get to level 8 and find one of the AP dragons. Nami's just not going to carry very hard in the late game. Like, she just doesn't carry very hard because she's a 2-cost unit. She's a support unit. Like, she's not a main damage threat. Rise, more of a carry, but Rise is more of a mid-game carry. Again, he falls off in the late game. He just doesn't do enough damage because it's all single target. It's a little bit like Malzahar from the previous set. Those who might remember Malz from set 6. All of Malzahar's damage was single target, and it's the same thing for Rise. He's a single target caster, so he just doesn't do enough damage to wipe the board in the late game. And so that's why it's better to transition into one of the AP dragons if you can. Now, Rise 3-star is an exception. If you can hit Rise 3-star, yes, he can of course be a viable late game carry, but otherwise Rise is going to fall off pretty hard on stage 5. Rise is great on stage 3, good on stage 4, falls off very hard stage 5. So that's why, as I said, it's better to move into one of the AP dragons and not just do what that person did and reroll on level 7, looking to 3-star the Nami. Like, you just get outscaled long term. And that's what you're seeing here. A lot of these other comps were stronger earlier in the game, but like, because all these people were re-rolling so heavily, like, everyone in this lobby was re-rolling super hard, like way harder than I would recommend. Their comps are just falling off because these people are stuck at like level 7 and level 8, and I'm heading very quickly to level 9. Anyway, we have a what is this? We have a dragon carousel here, and I was thinking I certainly would have taken the mage hat if it was there. It is not there. After that, I was thinking maybe I should take the evoker emblem. I would be able to turn a unit into an evoker with what is it? I have wow, I can't remember the unit's name, the Lulu on my team. But Evoker's not really going to do much of anything because it's just going to create mana generation, whereas I actually have my units generate more mana by not having an Evoker emblem on them because I have Prismatic Meditation. So they actually would generate less mana by putting the Evoker emblem on them, as crazy as that sounds. So instead, I just grabbed one of the 2 Ao Shins, so that I only need to find one more. Like, yes, this one has a Cannoneer emblem. Yes, that's totally useless. But hey, I mean, this gets me to 2 out of 3 Alshins, and 2-star Alshin is guaranteed wins the lobby from here. With the items I have, I'm not losing if I 2-star this unit. No one else has any kind of comp that's going to match up with mine. So yeah, we'll just take that, get another, get one of the units that we need, and then hopefully we can find the last one. Now, I was watching this, and I was like, oh, I'm up against the Swain player, and apparently my Ghost is losing this round against the Swain player. I was like, oh, that's not good. Apparently, I just lose this round. I was like, oh, I have to take this person more seriously as a threat. I wasn't really thinking all that much in terms of how scary this person's comp might be. But I'm actually matched up against them right now, again, as well. As this person saying there's no more Namis in the pool. Yeah, apparently there's so many Namis out of the pool, no one can 3-star Nami. That may be the reason why Vlad has gotten stuck on 8 Vlads as well. But I was like, oh, I got to take this person really seriously because my Ghost just lost to this person. I hope that I can beat this one. Man, is there something about this team? They don't really look that strong. But again, my Ghost did lose. Well, here's the answer to that. Again, there are a bunch of bugs in how the Ghost rounds function. A bunch of stuff doesn't work properly during the Ghost rounds. I believe that my meditation augment just was not functioning in that Ghost round whatsoever. So it's like, yeah, you know what? If that person is playing my board when I just do not have my prismatic augment, yeah, that actually might make a difference. And so you can see I am very easily beating this person. It's not even remotely close. So you might be like, wow, those Ghost rounds must be really badly bugged. And the answer to that is yes. Yes, they are bugged. So we're going to win this round pretty easily. And now we are down to just 3 people in the lobby. So I also need to make another point. I have not rolled like at all this game. I think I've rolled like maybe 30 gold the entire game. Like I have barely touched that reroll button. I've just kind of been playing what I was handed. And what you're seeing is that mages are really strong. Really, really strong. I mean, I've gotten some luck in this game. Prismatic Meditation has been just incredible, but I don't think I've high rolled that hard. I didn't even find Rise for the longest time. Like I was playing through Lilia for like Lilia with a Shojin was like my answer throughout stage 3. I don't think that was that strong. And granted, maybe this lobby wasn't all that amazing. This was a normal game. After all, you get a bunch of different people in normal games. I still think that this is a pretty good example of how this board is kind of overpowered. All right, so, oh, well, that was pretty easy. We managed to hit the 3-star or the 2-star version of the Aurelian Soul. So now I'm looking for Ornn, and of course there's another Alshin, but whatever, that was not guaranteed. There's Bard, we'll put in Bard, and now I think that because I have 4 mages, it's better to just replace the Vlad with Sona. I did not hit the 3-star Vlad, somewhat incredibly, I did not hit it, but like we don't need a ton of mages in because remember, we don't have a mage spat on the Alshin. Like, this unit is not a mage, so we don't need to run 5 mages. Let's put in Sona and Bard and just run more, more utility units, more support units. All right, I will hold on to the Vlads because if I can find a Zoe, I might want to go up to 5 mages again. And oh my god, we just annihilated that board. It wasn't even remotely close. I mean, we killed them in like 7 seconds. Yeesh! Again, I haven't rolled at all. I still have to find Ornn. I have not found an Ornn yet, so that I can put him in for Tempest 4. I'm going to look to 2-star Bard and Sona. I'm 1 off Nami 3-star, so like I can get a lot stronger here. Now we're down to just 2 of us in the lobby, so I'm going to roll, see if I can find Sona. There we go. Can I find more Bards? Can I finally... Oh, well, never mind. I guess they're just going to quit the lobby, so GG. What's sad about this is I never even really got to see my endgame team comp. Like, I'm still putting it together. And everyone in the lobby just quits and leaves the game before I can even manage to finish putting my team together. It's so sad. I wanted more time to play around with the 2-star Alshin. I wanted to make Bard 2-star, Sona 2-star. I wanted to get my Nami 3-star. Ah, well, I guess it's not going to happen. Ah, well. In any case, though, I think this is a good example of how strong the mages are. Expect nerfs incoming sooner rather than later, but this was the first day of the patch, and they were running wild. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, hope you guys have a good week. Take care.